Welcome back, my lovelies. I hope you are set for today's update. Like and subscribe, for it gives me the confidence and strength to keep writing stories for you. The wind changed 3 days after the ash mark was discovered. Not in direction, in feeling. It no longer carried only dust and rain, it carried anticipation. The kind that pressed lightly at the back of the neck, warning of eyes watching from beyond the horizon. Zura felt it first. She stood barefoot in the courtyard at dawn, blades laid out before her, moving through slow forms to steady her thoughts. Each movement was precise, fluid, deliberate, a dance of discipline more than aggression. Li Wei watched from the shaded colonnade. There was something different now in the way he looked at her. Before, it had been assessment, respect, curiosity. Now it was something warmer, something rooted. She pivoted, blade flashing in the sunrise, golden light skimming faintly beneath her skin. "You are distracted," she said without turning. "You noticed." "I always notice." He stepped forward into the light. "I was thinking," he said calmly, "how dangerous it is that my empress grows more formidable each day." She lowered her blade and faced him fully. "And yet you stand close." "I am not easily frightened." A faint smile curved her mouth. "No," she said softly. "You are not." The space between them felt smaller than it had the week before. Not because the world had grown safer, but because they had chosen closeness despite its danger. In the evenings, when political strategy gave way to quiet hours, they found themselves speaking more freely than before. Not only of kingdoms, but of childhood, of loneliness, of the weight that had always rested on their shoulders long before they met. Li Wei told her of frost-heavy mornings in the imperial capital, of expectations placed on him before he understood what they meant. Zura spoke of her first lion hunt, of standing before elders who doubted her simply because she was young. He listened, truly listened. One night, as lanterns swayed gently in warm breeze, she found herself seated beside him on the terrace steps, their shoulders nearly touching. "You carry silence like armor," she said. "And you carry strength like obligation." She tilted her head slightly. "Perhaps we can teach each other differently." His hand shifted, not accidentally this time, until his fingers brushed the inside of her wrist. Her pulse fluttered against his touch. The contact was light, intentional, a question rather than demand. She answered by turning her hand and threading her fingers through his. No urgency, no audience, just warmth. The first time their intimacy deepened beyond shared glances and quiet kisses, it was not fueled by war or fear. It was fueled by stillness. Rain fell softly outside their chamber, the scent of earth rising into the air. Zura stood near the open balcony doors, the moon casting silver lines along her skin. Li Wei approached slowly, removing the weight of his outer robes, setting aside crown and duty alike. When he reached her, he did not claim. He asked. His hand traced the curve of her waist, steady and reverent. She turned toward him, resting her palms against his chest, feeling the strength there, not just physical, but anchored. "You are certain," he murmured. She met his gaze. "I have never been uncertain with you." His lips brushed her forehead first, then her temple, then her mouth. The kiss deepened gradually, unhurried, built on months of trust forged in fire and snow. He carried her to the bed not as possession, but as promise. Their closeness was not wild. It was deliberate. Hands learned familiar paths. Breaths synchronized. Outside, thunder rolled low in the distance. Inside, fire and dragon met not as prophecy, but as two people choosing each other fully. And when they lay tangled together afterward, the world felt quieter than it had in years. She rested her head against his shoulder. He traced idle patterns along her arm. "I do not regret any of it," he whispered. "Neither do I." But the world did not remain gentle for long. Scouts returned with confirmation. The Order of Ash had crossed into southern territories. Not in large numbers, but strategically. They were testing borders, watching patterns, studying routine. Li Wei called a joint council. African generals stood beside imperial commanders around a carved obsidian table. We do not confront them openly yet, Zura said. They want reaction. They want fear, Li Wei added. And if they attempt capture, one general asked. His silver gaze hardened. They will not succeed. Yet privately, both knew the order did not fail easily. They were trained from childhood to neutralize magic, to bind it, to suppress it, and they would not attack Cairo directly first. They would destabilize his protectors. That night, Zura woke abruptly, not from sound, from absence. The air felt muted. She sat up slowly. Li Wei stirred beside her. You feel it, he said quietly. She nodded. Sunfire flickered faintly across her skin. He shifted upright, dragon energy rising in silent response. Outside, the torches lining palace walls extinguished one by one. No wind. No rain. Just sudden darkness. The Order of Ash had arrived. But not in force. In infiltration. Guards collapsed silently at posts, struck by darts laced with suppression toxins. Zura moved swiftly, wrapping cloth around herself, reaching for her blade. Li Wei stepped ahead of her. Stay with Cairo. She grabbed his arm. We fight together. His eyes softened briefly. Yes. They moved through shadowed corridors with practiced precision. Two ash-cloaked figures emerged near the inner courtyard. Their armor was matte gray, faces concealed by cloth masks marked with broken circles. One raised a crossbow tipped with rune-etched bolts. The bolt flew. Zura deflected it midair, sparks flying as sunfire flared. Li Wei shifted partially, scales rippling along his forearms as he closed distance with inhuman speed. The fight was silent, efficient. The attack tightened something inside Zura. Fear tried to resurface. But this time, she did not carry it alone. In the quiet hours after the infiltration was repelled, she stood on the palace wall watching dawn creep over plains. Li Wei joined her, wrapping a cloak around her shoulders from behind. You were shaking, he said softly. After. Yes. I do not like that they touched our walls. His arms slid around her waist. They did not touch him. Not yet. His chin rested briefly against her shoulder. They underestimate us. She leaned back slightly into him. And you. I never underestimate. She turned within his embrace, hands resting against his chest. I will not run again, she said quietly. I know. And if they come in force. His gaze deepened. Then we burn the sky. A slow smile curved her lips. That is the dragon I married. And the queen I chose. Their foreheads touched gently, a private vow renewed without ceremony. Far beyond Nkosi, the Order of Ash regrouped. Their leader knelt before King Rashid in the desert palace. The child is stable, he reported. Balanced. Rashid's eyes narrowed. And the parents? United. Silence lingered. That complicates matters. Yes. Rashid turned to his seer. If balance cannot be broken through fear. The seer's voice was low and ancient. Then it must be tempted. Weeks passed without direct confrontation. But trade caravans were ambushed. Minor border disputes were instigated. Imperial court whispers intensified. Minister Han began suggesting relocation of the heir to the eastern capital for security. A political move disguised as protection. Li Wei read the subtext immediately. If he is raised under imperial supervision alone, Han argued, it ensures stability. It ensures control, Zura countered sharply during a council transmission. Tension crackled across distance. Li Wei's voice cut through cleanly. My son will not be separated from his mother. The declaration echoed through both courts. Lines were being drawn openly now. That night, exhaustion weighed heavily. Zura found herself alone in their chamber, hands pressed against cool stone wall, trying to slow racing thoughts. Li Wei entered quietly. Without speaking, he moved behind her, sliding his hands gently along her arms. "Breathe," he murmured. Her shoulders lowered gradually. "You trust me?" he asked. "With my life. And with his." She turned slowly, eyes searching his. "Yes." "Then let them whisper." He kissed her softly, grounding her. His touch this time was less hesitant than before. Confident. Protective. When he lifted her, she wrapped her legs around his waist instinctively, laughter escaping her briefly, rare and unguarded. "You carry me as if I am weightless." "You are," he said against her skin. Their intimacy was no longer tentative exploration. It was familiar heat. Hands knew where to press, where to soothe, where to linger. The world outside remained uncertain. But within those walls, they created certainty through closeness, through chosen unity. And when dawn rose again, neither felt alone. But beyond every horizon, forces were aligning. The Order of Ash prepared new runes. King Rashid secured frost alliances. Minister Han quietly gathered loyalists. And deep within forgotten mountains, something ancient awakened fully. Not serpent, not shadow, but origin. The child had balanced what should not have been touched. And balance, once achieved, draws attention from powers that prefer chaos. The next storm would not test their strength. It would test their bond. And this time, it would strike where love lived strongest. I hope the story has captured your heart. Stick around to find out what happened next and which dangers they shall face together. Thank you for listening, like, and subscribe for more fantasy and mystical stories.